Fight.
Yo, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is a green screen, so I'm not actually in space right now. I'm having a lot of fun with it, so I thought I'd throw it up. And this thing was like 20 bucks or something, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, today, Banlist. It's Banlist season. It's free content season, as some more established people call it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw out what I feel like should happen, could happen, maybe happen. Who knows what Konami's gonna do these days. But I guess first, gotta say it. If you liked the video, hit me with a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you don't, that's cool too. I still hope you have a good day. So my general thoughts with Banlist. First off, I think to have a healthy meta, we want as many viable decks as possible. So this may pain you to hear. I don't want to absolutely kill Dragon Link. I still want Dragon Link to be a deck, not the deck, right? I don't think we should preemptively hit stuff like Drytron or Tri-Brigade. They haven't had their time in the sun. I want them to, get a little bit better, become more established, and really push for that. I don't really like tiers, but we'll say tier 1 status, I guess. And then also I think there are a few cards on the ban list that just don't need to be there in the slightest. And we'll cover those as well. So I guess to get started, let's talk about some peel-offs. I think that reasoning, absolutely there's no reason for it to be at 1. It doesn't see any play. It's like kind of a fun extender, but correct me if I'm wrong, but what deck is going to play reasoning at 3? It's a little bit sacky, but also it can just be a neg 1 if your opponent calls it right. Another card is, I would love it if Called By came back. Like, I know the point of it was to sell Crossout Designator when or if it ever comes to the TCG, but I mean, come on, I really feel like limiting Called By mostly hurt rogue decks, like Dragon Link, Drytron. They can play through hand traps. Orcust does not have that ability, at least not so much. So I would love it if Called By came back to 3. I don't really see any reason for it to be on the ban list right now. I know it's a good card. I'm not going to pretend it's bad, but there's just no reason for it to be at 1. This one's super obvious, and I can guarantee you with a 100% certainty this is going to happen. Red MD is going to go to 3. It's been errated. It's a hard ones per turn. There's no reason for it to be at 1 anymore because, yeah, it's a hard ones per turn. Following up, this one is maybe a little bit controversial to people, but maybe not. I feel like Armageddon Knight and Dark Refer could come back to 3. Like, 1, they'd see literally 0 play. 2, any deck that wants access to those cards can get access to those cards with the Zold. Like, there's, if you want to do some Dark Warrior FTK shenanigans, you can already do that. And you could even argue, like, a lot of those decks don't even want to draw AK, so they might not even play it at 3. And yeah, they're like fun, good consistency cards for some decks, but it's not like, again, what deck is going to play AK at 3 right now? What deck is going to play especially Dark Refer? Are we scared of tier 0 dangers with 3 Dark Refer? I don't think so. Onto some more meta relevant stuff. Of course, this is low-hanging fruit, but LP, please get LP out of here. That card is too busted. And just the fact that, like, in-engine, you can get access to LP every single game without having to run any extra bricks or anything special or crazy. It's just like, if you want LP, you can get LP. And the other thing with that is, like, especially with people running the Dragon Mates right now, part of what makes Dragon Link so strong is a mixture of monster and trap interruption. So if Dark Ruler is not an end-all be-all against that deck because they still have access to tiding every single game, and they can either negate the Dark Ruler with Hot Red, or they can just bounce your shit with tiding and still have interruptions, right? So I think LP is the facilitator for all of the broken stuff in that deck. So I would love to see LP banned, and I would love one more hit, maybe not something that's quite as drastic, but you know, something I would like, either, you know, Striker Dragon to 1, because I think that kind of limits the grind game. Like, it is very, very common for that deck to go through all 3 Striker Dragons in a game or a couple of turns. So getting that back or down to 1, I think would be nice. Banning Pisty would be okay for me too. I don't know, like, on a scale how impactful that would be for the deck, because I have seen some turn 1s where they don't use it because they just kind of can't, but I'd be happy with that gone with LP. Or Seal. I would be okay if Seal got banned. Again, might be a little bit controversial, but the fact that it's generic and easy to make, and it is an interruption, like a non-targeting return to hand, is just so strong. And on top of that, it provides follow-up. Like, to out a Seal, you need 2 cards. Like, you need Dark Ruler plus Ash, because they're still going to get the card off of the tributing effect. So and that is just really, really strong. So I would be absolutely okay if they banned Seal and LP. And then Dragon Link would still be a good deck. It would still be fine. It just wouldn't put up 6 interruptions in engine every single game. And you could still use the Dragon Link cards as like an engine for, you know, other stuff. Like, I know some people have talked about, you know, hitting quick launch, and that's like a minor consistency hit. Maybe it, you know, hits an extender, which can hurt, but like, they'll still do all of the degenerate stuff at the end of the day if they hit quick launch. Like, I don't think that's you know, particularly relevant here. And finally, you know, I gotta throw it out there, Harp needs to come back. I mean, come on. Like, Orchest is still super fragile. Think about the ceilings of decks like Dragon Link right now, or Drytron. Like, the ceilings of those decks are so high in comparison to what the meta would be if Orchest was at quote-unquote full power. Like, even in Orchest's heyday, it wasn't like winning every deck by a landslide. And now, like, with power creep a couple years later, again, like, I mean, have you read the Drytron cards? They're just crazy. Like, Diviner Zeta, like, or Beta, Fafnir is just a wild card. And that card's okay. But Harp, which, like, yes, summoning from the extra deck, super strong. I'm not going to deny that. But, like, what are you going to summon? You summon Nightmare? Yeah, summoning Girsu can be nice, but then you're just, like, helping to keep your engine going, but it's not, like, it's not that crazy. Yeah, I really think, like, Orchest would have a place in the meta if Harp was back. But this isn't the OCG either, where control decks are super, super strong because of Max C. There's no Max C in TCG, hopefully forever, because that card is just awful. But yeah, I think Orchest without Max C is a completely fine deck, and I think would be just fine in the meta. And that's really all I have. I don't really see the need for some drastic tier or ban list. Oh, excuse me. That just, like, cuts down Dragon Link and then slashes Drytron and then already touches Tri Brigade, because they just haven't really had a chance to do anything, right? And again, like, I want there to be as many viable decks in the meta as possible. I think already the meta is, like, pretty decent. Like, off the top of my head, there are 4 or 5 good decks, which, and of course Dragon Link's the best deck, but having, like, 5 good playable decks that, like, will give you a shot in every matchup, I think is pretty good. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So those are just my thoughts. That's my opinion. If you liked the video, great. If you don't, tell me why I'm stupid. I would appreciate that too. That's all I got. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.